So, Lewis, you are an esteemed graduate of Drake University many years ago. You have a journalism degree. Think about the things that you learned while you were in college and some of the key, I guess, things that you were able to take from your college life into your career that have really served you well.
Probably the most significant thing that I learned, Dean Batts, was the importance of being a great storyteller. And as I sort of took my journey through college, whether it was experiences of in the classroom or I worked part-time at a local radio station in Des Moines, Iowa, or it was my experience on the track, being a great storyteller at any of those venues or ecosystems was significantly important. Because at the end of the day, what we're doing is about communication. How we make people feel, how we tell our stories and our journeys to one another, how we communicate our problems, how we communicate answers. Storytelling is just a great art that people really need to lean into. Most graduates will find out how important storytelling is when they go to get a job. Because at the end of the day, it's that story that people will be deciding on. Because the experience that they have, being honest, because they spent most of their time in school, will be small. So they're going to have to tell a story of their vision, tell a story of how their skill set, how their energy, how their commitment can contribute to the overall goal and objective of that particular company. So I would say, learn to be a great storyteller. And don't just practice that in the classroom, practice that also in your personal life.
The skills that we learn, you mentioned storytelling skills, those skills are really transferable across lots of different disciplines. You've had the fortune of really seeing the evolution of communications over the course of a few decades. Talk about how those communication skills, again, have become really more pervasive in all industries.
Well, one of the things you have to be able to do to be able to work in any industry or adapt to any particular platform is to be flexible, be able to sort of blend in a very authentic way, to different cultures and different environments. Being open to learning new things, being open to change, being open to being flexible, still being able to show up in your best authentic self. Now that's a little different than a lot of people say. Some people say, show up, Dean Batts, as your authentic self. I say your best authentic self, because we all have some good things and bad things about us. We want to leave those bad things at home in the closet with a couple of locks on them, and we want to sort of excel in our good things. But as we were talking earlier today, this is the best time ever to be in this industry, because there's so many places that your skill sets can fit in. In every particular industry in this company, they need great communicators, they need great writers, they need great marketers, they need great PR. They need people who have strong skill sets in every single industry, on every single platform. So what a great time to be in this business.
You have played an important role in the growth and evolution of an iconic brand, BET. Talk about how that has evolved from over your time at the company.
It is one of the reasons that I have been able to stay there almost 4 decades, because the purpose and the mission that we have for our community and consumers who love Black culture. We want to entertain, engage, and empower. So we want people to be excited about the content that we put on air. We want people to engage in that content. And then we want people to be empowered by it, to go out and create change, to inspire people, to motivate people. We want young people to be able to say, if they can do that, we can do that. We want people to sort of move out of that space. You know, a lot of young people, Dean Batts, say, you can't be what you can't see. I disagree, because there's always a first. In every single place, there's always the first person to do something. So having a purpose and a mission that inspires and motivates people, that has been really key to us. When we started as a video network, just playing videos 24 hours a day.
I remember.
And people were excited about us playing those videos, because it was the first time that African Americans could see themselves in very positive roles all day, all night. So it has been an amazing journey. And I give credit to our staff, our teams of people who've continued to reinvent themselves over and over and over as we are 43 years old.
Going back for a minute, you talked about, you know, young people coming into the industry. You've had the fortune of being able to offer a lot of opportunities to young people coming in, seeking careers in BET, and then also some of the philanthropic work that you do in providing internship opportunities for students. If you had to develop really a profile of success for people in that you've seen, what might that be? What are some of the things that really is pervasive through people who are successful?
Well, one of the things, intentionality is a word that comes to mind. People who come in the industry and they really have intentionality about being successful, about making an impact, about understanding what they do. We're in this business, Dean Batts, that what we do is always bigger than ourselves, because the stories we tell, the impact that we have, the influence that we have is always bigger than us as individuals. So understanding that, being intentional about that, also being disciplined about some of the fundamentals. We were talking about writing earlier, where a lot of people have sort of pushed their writing skills to the side because of technology. Don't push them to the side. Keep them, focus on them always. And really understanding how to show up in spaces as your best authentic self, being a true storyteller. The people who I see successful, they are just at it every single day. I mean, and they love it. It's not a job to them. It's a way of life. Right. In my book, I talk about success is a way of life. You see it in all aspects. You know, you don't want to be the person that's a public success and a private failure. You want to be that person that is as successful in your private life as you are in your public life. So it's not something that is specific to those who are in the communication business. Those fundamentals are success for those who are in life, who are just trying to be good corporate citizens, contribute and influence the broader communities.
We talk about evolution and where things have come over the course of the past few decades. Where do you see this all going now as you look into the future?
I don't think as a visionary, I just see a lot of green grass down a very long road. I don't see any end. I don't see, when people say, where's it going? It's just going. I think because of technology, because of creative vision, because of multiple opportunities for different types of people, I don't see that there's any end in this. As I said earlier, when I graduated with a degree in broadcast journalism, I had the broadcast networks at the time, and it was only 3. I had radio, and it was very limited stations at that. There was newspapers, there were magazines. That was it. Now I can't hardly give you a list of the multiple platforms and opportunities that there are in the country right now. And remember back then, there was no such thing as opinion news except besides an op-ed, all right? And that was not even every day of the week, that was only certain days in certain newspapers and magazines.
Right.
Now you have this plethora of platforms where, even you can express your personal opinion, whether it's on social media or whatever. So, and there are a lot of people being very successful, making an awful lot of money that have degrees like us and maybe don't want to work in corporate America. They want to work for themselves. So like I said, it's a very exciting time to be in this industry.
You recently were inducted into the Advertising Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What does that mean to you in terms of just having that recognition?
For me, understanding the process to get there, the things that I did professionally was only part of the reason I entered the Hall of Fame. The other piece were the things that I did beyond my profession to help others. So whether it was my foundation work, whether it's the philanthropic things that I did for my community, and that's what put me there. I was the 23rd African American in 72 years to go into the Hall of Fame. I am currently still the only person in sales that have ever been entered into the Hall of Fame from any background. But it was the things that I said, this is bigger than me. There's a need here. There's a concern here. And I decided as an individual, I was going to try to do something about that. And that's why I encourage a lot of young people, be courageous. When you see a right, whether it's in front of you or down the street, try to do something about it. There's no wrong that's too small to ignore. Try to fix all of them. When I went to our parent company at that time, which was Viacom, and I said, I'm trying to start a foundation because I've been tremendously blessed, and I don't even know how to do that. They applauded me and said, don't worry about it. We got a law firm that'll help you do that, that'll guide you step by step. I said, a law firm? That sounds like a lot of money. They said, don't worry about that. We'll cover that. We'll take care of that. Because what we think you're trying to do and achieve is so important for your community and for our industry. Because I was trying to prove to the industry that one person can sort of build this pipeline of young talent that is black and brown that can help diversify this industry. And the diversification of the industry is not just good for black and brown people, it's good for the industry. It brings new thought, it brings new creativity into the industry. It broadens the whole industry, it makes the whole industry bigger. So I think when people looked at my work over that period of time, and also with my professional success, that's why I ended up in the Hall of Fame. And it's not just important to me, it's important to my team, it's important to our company, it's important to our brand, and it's important to our community. You
competed, you were an athlete at Drake, you competed in track. How does that competition and being in track, how did that really transfer into your career and how you have pursued your work?
Dean Batts, I think you must have been peeping inside my head because I'm going to talk about it in that address I'm going to give tonight. What track taught me is that life is about competing. But it's not about the competition between me and you or me and this other person. It's about that competition with yourself. It's how far do you want to push yourself. It's how many sacrifices do you want to make for yourself. That's what track taught me. Because track is an individual sport and a team sport all at the same time. And what it said to me, prepare yourself for the importance of your team at the end of the day. I've been a team captain on every team I was on. And even when I was hurt, Dean Batts, I showed up to every practice, to every meet, and I showed up in a way that they knew I was there, not in the background, but in the front. That's what leadership was all about. Track showed me how to be a leader at all times, and that being a leader and thinking more about the team than yourself is the most important thing. Because the results, as I tell people, if you've never won on a team, oh, you've missed one of the greatest joys ever.
Fantastic. Is that good?
Yeah, can we go ask if he has one, the one suggestion for success?
Okay.
In just a moment.
Okay. All right.
There's a lot of activity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
you know.
I realized we could never do this when students are here.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
We're freaking out about every little noise.
Yeah.
When
When students
this
are
is
here.
a great location, but
It is a good. It's a good shot.
when they're all
Yeah.
And then after we ask that question, I'm thinking we want to get just a little bit of B-roll. We still have a few minutes if you've got time.
Sure.
Maybe like a medium shot of the two of them chatting and sort of a little bit wider shot.
No worries.
I just saw the thing going with Gail, and I thought, oh, we need to just
Yeah,
a little bit,
definitely.
while they just chat, that we won't record. Sure. So
So-
it was, that he's been extremely successful in his career, so does he have one piece of advice that students should adhere to
Okay.
as they go on their journey for success?
Okay. Ready? Ready, Scott? Been extremely successful. What is one piece of advice that you would give students for their journey?
Think big. Think real big. Never think in a little small way or in a small box. Think about endless possibilities. Think about how big that you could possibly be in anything you're doing. I'm going to tell you this one story, Dean Batts. When Bill Clinton was president, I had the privilege of being at the Washington Press Club and having lunch. It was about 25 of us. And he said, I want each of you to ask me any question in the world. We're going to go around the table. I happened to be like the 23rd person, so all of the good questions by then were gone, right? So I said, okay, Mr. President, how big does your ego have to be leader of the free world? And without hesitant, he said, not big at all, Louis. I just looked at the person who was doing it and said, I can do better than that. Think big. Because thinking small, it could be fine. But why do that when the whole world is available to you and your impact, your influence, your talent, your motivation can impact the whole world versus one person or two persons? So my advice to graduates and those who are still on their journey in the academic process, always think big.
We'll just keep talking because you have to do it.
So we'll just do like a few minutes of B-roll.
Okay. Just how do you balance the need to have confidence in yourself, but also remaining humble and being open to learning and direction? How do you do that?
Well, number one, you get your confidence by doing the work and the preparation and executing over and over and over again in a very excellent way. But always understanding that you can never learn too much. Mm-hmm. That never happens. And that you also can learn from anyone, right? I surround myself with young people. I'm asking them all the time, should I do this or should I do that? They're giving me all type of answers. That's not cool, Louis. No, don't do that. That's not right. Oh, you look too old doing that. They'll change that. Because I am trying to stay relevant at all times. See, for you, it's easy because you're surrounded every day by students who sort of think about the future. They're using new technology. They're into the latest trends. So, you got an advantage over me. For me, I've got to go out and I've got to find them. I've got to ask them questions. I've got to intentionally engage with them because I want to intentionally be relevant and learn new things. And then also, there are those who are just wise. those who are grandparents and those who have been through a lot of different experiences, don't ever forget them too. Because that wisdom that they give you puts you also in another stratosphere of excellence in learning. So look down, look up, look left, look right, and look behind you.
Interesting. Thinking about just the premise of what BET represents and represented, and when it came onto the scene, and obviously we have evolved. Will there always be a need for, I guess, segmentation in terms of where audiences go? Is it reasonable to expect that it should always be that way, or that any one key channel or network can really capture all eyeballs and be able to serve the needs of all audiences?
Well, we use this word now, and it's becoming one of the most misused words in our business. It's called culture. Culture is always going to be there. It's always going to be a part of everything we do. But culture is like water. It's constantly moving. It's constantly flowing. It's going downhill. It's traveling uphill. It's going around mountains. Culture is always changing. And as long as culture is part of our lifestyle and what we do, there's always going to be important that communities and their history and their lifestyles are represented. I mean, are we ever going to go back to a time when we don't see women on television? Absolutely not. And we're never going to go back to times where we're not engaging with Hispanics and Asians. I think more and more in our country, we're realizing that differences is what makes us great. Mm-hmm. And the more that we're able to sort of live with that, the better our country, the better our communities are going to be.